Let's get some lighting situated here. Here we go. Let's see what we want to deal with. There we go. Isn't it amazing what lighting can do? Just amazing. Who's ready for Crimson Queen? Hello. Let me get in here and say hi now. Hey, it's just me. Hey, West Virginia sweetheart. Hello, Laurie Welch, 79. Hey, Shirley. Hey, Ocean Blue. Hey, Julie. Hey, Palm. How are all my lovelies doing? Hello, Goddess Lovely. How are you? Hey, Karen. Let's start reposting, sharing the live. Let's start tapping that screen. Hey, Anna. Hello, Diana. Hey, Melanie. How are you, honey? Been thinking about you today. I am good. Hey, Wolfman. Hello, John and Janella Hicks. Welcome in. Hey, Lalu. I am doing well, Wolfman. How are you? Hello, Lab Patriona de Lunes y Leomis. I hope I did not totally just run that. Well, you're getting your bits tonight. Let's start sharing it, sharing it, sharing it. Do you have one person, 2, 5 people that you can share the live with? Let's do it. No, ma'am. I see you. I am watching you like a hawk, young lady. Oh, hey, Eddie and Santiago. Trying to see where I can pop this. Let's get into vampire mode, shall we? Hello. Come on in. Hey, honey. Hey, rotting savior. Do you really, Shirley? You were able to find the ringtone? Oh, I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to copy you. Hey, Jim Rocks. Hey, Kelly. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can't forget why you were mine. I need you now. Hey, Pink. Oh, really? Oh, wow. I bet that was really cool. Guardian Savior. 4 minutes till the continuance of Crimson Queen. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Pamela. Hello, hello. Okay, Shirley, thank you. Hey, Sandy's mama. Welcome to Twisted Tales Live. I am your host, Brim Morgan. I am a horror author, and I am also a lover of scary stories. Tonight is Vampire Night. Are you ready, Grims? I have to tell you, tonight has been very emotional for me writing this story. Knowing that both of my stories are about to come to a conclusion is one of the most emotional things for me. And tonight, I will tell you today, when I was in my process of writing, I was just remembering back to how long that we've been doing The Crimson Queen and doing Cherry Hill. And I really believe that both of these are books that are meant to be published. So let's go ahead and go into story time. Very bittersweet, extremely. Hey, X, you came just in time. And I'm very picky. I wouldn't say that every book that I write should be published. Some of them aren't meant to be, but I would definitely say that Crimson Queen, Blood in the Snow, and Cherry Hill are. With that being said, it is time to enter into story time. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Light a candle for ambiance. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. Music good? I am going to get stickers for both platforms, yes. Hey, Rhonda. When we last left Blackstone Manor, something magical had happened. Something catastrophic had happened. The Crimson Moon was eclipsed by Morwith, the most powerful witch in the kingdom, in the realm. Tonight, we go back and continue the story from there. The eclipse had been Morwen's gift. As Calypso Veyron fled Blackstone Castle, Sylvie's blood still wet on her hands. The chaos of Evangeline's horrifying collapse still echoing behind her, the crimson moon had gone dark. The crimson moon had been eclipsed. Not gradually, but all at once. Swallowed by shadow and ringed with an eerie blue light that cast the world in alien hues. The darkness had hidden her flight, protected her, carried her north on wings of shadow magic toward the Thornspire Mountains, toward sanctuary, toward power, or so she believed. Nixroth rolled her shoulder as she flew, her red eyes glowing like embers in the unnatural night. The raven's presence was a comfort, one constant in a world that tilted violently off its axis in the span of a single evening. A wedding, a blood rage, a schmurder, an escape. It had all happened so fast. Too fast. Calypso's mind still reeled as she soared through the darkness, following the pull of Morwen's voice in her head, trusting in promises of protection and glory. Fly, little serpent. Fly to me and I will keep you safe. I will make you strong, Morwen promised. I will give you everything you've ever desired. The widow's fangs appeared before her, two massive peaks rising like daggers against the eclipsed sky, and between them, hidden behind shimmering veils of ancient magic, a valley that shouldn't exist. And the fortress, Velcrest. Even in the darkness, it was magnificent. 7 towers of black stone carved directly from the mountain, covered in runes that glowed with faint green light. Windows like empty eyes, a bridge spanning an impossible chasm. Home, Morwen had whispered in her mind, my sanctuary, and now yours. Calypso had landed on that bridge with relief flooding through her exhausted body. She was safe, hidden beyond Ella Snow's reach. The great doors stood open, waiting. She'd walked inside, and everything had changed. The moment that Calypso crossed the threshold of Velcrest, Morwen's spell had activated. The door slammed shut behind her with a sound like thunder. The darkness inside was absolute, deeper than the eclipse, heavier than night, suffocating in its completeness. Morwen? Calypso had called out, her voice echoing through unseen spaces. It is cold in here, and there is no light. How am I supposed to survive in here? I am not used to these conditions. Morwen! Where? And then the witch's voice had come, not gentle, not welcoming, angry. You petulant, spoiled girl. Does anything please you? I know the answer to that. It does not. Tell me, Calypso Veyron, did you truly believe that I would give you power? After everything that I have done for you, and everything that you have done to destroy it? The words had hit like a physical blow to Kalitza. She spun toward the sound, her hands raised defensively. I wasn't sure what to do. I felt helpless. I told you to trust me, and you went against everything that I told you to do. You had promised me that I will be queen. You had promised me, Morwen. Did I? A tall mirror from the floor to the ceiling, cathedral height, began to glow. Green eyes, orbs appeared in the mirror's surface. You were never meant to be queen. You are a vessel, nothing more. Did you not think that I would know what you would do? The serpents writhed around her head, striking out at the mirror, hungry to taste Kalitza. You promised! You promised! I can turn it around! I can be exactly what you want me to be, please! Please give me the power that you promised me! You? Power? Before Kalitza knew what was happening, all the light that Morwen had created for her, the chandeliers, the sconces on the walls, all of it was plunged into the deepest darkness. A darkness so thick that you could feel it. The chains had came out then, and the ropes. Iron links materialized from the darkness, wrapping around Kalitza's wrist, her ankles, her throat. They yanked her off her feet with brutal force, dragging her backward through corridors she couldn't see, downstairs she couldn't count, into depths that seemed to go on forever. She screamed and fought, called on every scrap of power that she possessed. But in Morwen's hands, the power that she possessed was nothing. Morwen's magic was older, stronger, and absolute. The chains and ropes that pulled her into the chamber were vast and cold and empty. And then Kalitza felt herself lifted, foot by foot, until she was suspended 50 feet in the air, suspended by her ankles and her wrist, and her throat wrapped around a rope. There she was, in the center of space, arms spread wide, legs spread apart, completely helpless. And then Morwen had appeared. There you are. Your power. The Queen of the Darkness. Morwen, please, let me go. Please. Morwen circled from down below. A presence, a massive consciousness that filled the chamber like poison gas, pressing down on Kalitza from all sides. Green orbs that had opened in the darkness, huge, burning, ancient. And then her figure rose up in the air to look Kalitza dead in the eye. You are not Queen Kalitza Veyron, Morwenth had said, and her voice dripped with contempt. You are nothing more than a vessel. That is all that you ever were. A womb. A convenient body to carry what I need until the time is right. Kalitza had gone cold. No, she whispered. You promised. You said that I would. I promised nothing. I promised that if you did exactly as I told you, that I would give you everything. And you spit it back in my face. I heard your thoughts when we crossed the bridge. You were going to unseat me? You threatened the life of your son? Do you not know how ancient and terrible and powerful that I am? Perhaps not. You heard what you wanted to hear because you are desperate. You are foolish. And you are mine. The green eyes had moved closer, studying Kalitza like a specimen pinned to a board. You carry something precious inside you, little serpent. And with you, threatening him. At that moment, her belly began to stir. I cannot trust you. Not that I could before. But I certainly cannot trust you now. So here you will remain, suspended, as a result of your actions and your threats. You carry something I have worked centuries to create. And you will remain here, suspended in the darkness, fed just enough to keep my son alive until he is ready to be born. And from the looks of it, it will not be that long. Horror had crashed through Kalitza in waves. The child, she gasped. Aiden's child. I would never hurt him. I would not. It was just a foolish thing that I said. Still trying to play your game, are you? Your game of chess. I have made him perfect, Morwenth had purred. When you lay with Aiden that night, when you conceived in passion and foolishness, you created potential, raw material, and I shaped it, molded it, poured ancient power into that tiny spark of life. The eyes had gleamed with terrible satisfaction at that point. Kalitza, what grows inside you now is not merely a vampire child. It is vengeance incarnate. Power made flesh, the instrument of my return to this world. Kalitza had begun to weep then, not gentle tears, but racking sobs that shook her entire body. Please, she begged, please, I'll do anything. Just let me go. You are doing exactly what I need, Morwenth had replied. You are carrying my future. And when he is born, when he finally tears his way out of your worthless body, you will have served your purpose. A pause. heavy with promise. And then she drew closer. And then Lady Kalitsa Veyron, you will die. Morwen withdrew then, leaving Kalitsa hanging in absolute darkness, alone with her horror and her growing understanding of how completely she'd been used. Time became meaningless. Kalitsa hung in her chains, unable to see, unable to move, barely able to think beyond the constant gnawing hunger that consumed her from within. The child fed on her constantly. She could feel him growing, impossibly fast, unnaturally strong, her belly swelling day by day as whatever Morwen had created inside her developed at a rate that defied nature. Every few days, or was it hours now, or was it weeks, she would hear sounds in the darkness. Struggling, a wet, choking gurgle, and then the chains would lower her to the ground. Her feet would touch cold stone. The shackles would release, and she would smell it. Blood. Fresh, warm, close. The hunger would consume all thought, all restraint, all humanity. She would crawl through the darkness on her hands and her knees, following the scent like an animal, until her fingers found the source, a body, still warm, throat torn open, blood pooling on the stone. And she would feed, licking her fingers desperately, frantically, devouring every drop she could find, tearing into flesh with fangs and fingers, consuming life itself to feed the thing growing inside her. When the body was drained, when there was nothing left to take, the chains would return, slithering across the floors like snakes, leaving her alone, lifting her back into suspension, leaving her alone once more with her shame and her horror and the constant, insatiable hunger. She lost count of how many bodies, how many lives stolen to feed her child, how many times she'd become a monster in the darkness. And then it happened without warning. Kalitsa was hanging in her chains, her body aching, her mind drifting in and out of consciousness when she felt it. A pressure in her mind, not from outside, not from Morwen, but from within, from the child. The voice was not the voice of a boy. It was the voice of a man. Mother. The word bloomed in her consciousness like a flower made of ice. Kalitsa's eyes flew open in the darkness. Hello? Hello, who's there? She struggled in her chains. Mother. Her eyes flew wide open in the darkness. No, she whispered. That's not... You can't... I can. The voice was clear, distinct, male. Not the babbling thoughts of an infant, but the voice of something fully conscious, fully aware. I have been listening, Mother, feeling everything you feel, learning everything you know. Terror flooded through Kalitsa. What are you? She breathed. I am your son. A pause, and I am so much more. Images began to flood her mind. Not her own memories, but his, somehow. A courtyard bathed in crimson light. A man on his knees, beautiful, dark-haired, defiant, even in defeat. Aiden. Kalitsa's breath caught. My father. The child's voice was cold now, hard. The vampire who lay with you, who gave you me. She watched, helpless as the memories continued flooding through. Ella Snow standing over Aiden in the snow, her blue eyes rimmed in red, cold as winter, the sword rising and falling, Aiden's head rolling across the stone, his blood pooling in the moonlight. She killed him. The words carried such rage that Kalitsa screamed into the darkness, her body convulsing against the chains. Ella Snow, Queen of Blackstone, executioner of my father, murderer. The fury that flooded through Kalitsa was not her own, it was his, burning through her veins like acid. She took my father's head, displayed it like a trophy, threw his body into an unmarked grave. Another image, Aiden's last thoughts, his final moment, thinking of Ella Snow, calling her name even as the blade fell. Tell me, Mother, why did you abandon him? The accusation was a blade in her heart. I didn't. I watched it happen. You fled. You saved yourself. You let him die alone while you were scheming for power that you were never strong enough to claim. I didn't know, Kalitsa sobbed. I didn't know what would happen. But he died anyway. The child's presence pressed harder against her consciousness. And now I carry his death inside me. I carry his rage, his betrayal, his need for vengeance. The pressure intensified until Kalitsa thought her mind would shatter. When I am born, when I finally tear free of this prison of your body, I will find Ella Snow. I will make her kneel before me, and I will take her head just as she took my father's. Another pause, terrible in its certainty. And then I will raise my father back. I will give my father back the life she stole. And together we will rule over the ashes of Blackstone. I am the true heir. No, Kalitsa whispered desperately. No, you can't. You're not even born yet. I am my father's son. The voice was absolute. I carry his power, his strength, his legacy, and I carry something dark. Something more was poured into me, thinking that she could control it. Panic seized Kalitsa. She knew that Morwen could hear his thoughts, the things that he was saying. A cold laugh echoed through Kalitsa's mind. The crone is a fool. I am not hers. I am not yours. I am vengeance made flesh. I am the reckoning that Ella Snow has earned. The presence withdrew suddenly, leaving Kalitza gasping and weeping in the darkness. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she understood the true horror of what was coming. Not just for her, but for everyone. Far from Velcrest and Blackstone Castle, the darkness finally shattered. The blue ring that had hung in the sky collapsed inward with the pressure that made windows rattle and ears pop. And then, the crimson moon blazed back to life. Light flooded back into the world. Torches roared. Candles ignited. The ancient magical lights of Blackstone burned steady and true once more. Queen Ella Snow stood at her window, watching the moon reclaim its throne, her blue eyes rimmed in red reflecting the crimson light. Her jaw was set, her hands were steady. Behind her, Ian, Seraphina, and Nera waited in tense silence. She opened the balcony doors and stepped out. Mina was on the railing. Ian, Ella said quietly. He stepped forward immediately. Yes. The eclipse is broken. I want you to launch a search. 200 warriors. 50 to each direction, north, south, east, and west. Find Kalitza Veyron. She turned to face them then, her council, and her expression was carved from ice. I want her to suffer the most horrible death. She murdered Evangeline. She murdered Sylvie. She fled with her unborn child, Lord Veyron's child, and allied herself with something ancient and terrible. Ella's voice was brutal. Find her. Observe her location. Assess her defenses, but do not engage. Not yet. We need to understand what we're facing before we strike. Ian nodded sharply. He knelt before his queen, with his hand to his heart. It will be done. 2 hours later, 200 warriors launched into the crimson sky, spreading across the kingdom in perfect formation. Nera and Maelor went with Ian to scout it out. They searched everywhere. 3 days, every corner of the realm. And then, as they began to near the south, Nera felt it. There's something here. What is it? Maelor asked. She's close. I can smell her. And 3 days in, they found it. The Thornspire Mountains. Between the Widow's Fangs, they found it. At first, it was just a shimmer in the air. A veil of ancient magic. But as they pierced that air, beyond it was a fortress that should not exist. Nera's glowing green eyes widened as she pierced the outer layers of the illusion. What is Powerful. 7 towers, she whispered. Black stone, covered in runes. This is Idian. This is where Kalitsa's hiding. How do you know? I know. Ian raised his hand, keeping his warriors at a safe distance. You're sure? Yes, Ian. I am sure. Send word to the Queen, he commanded. We have found her hiding place. The messenger arrived at Blackstone Castle just after dawn, or what passed for dawn under the crimson moon. His name was Kale, and he landed in the courtyard with barely controlled urgency. His boots hitting stone as he folded his wings and sprinted toward the entrance. Guards stepped aside as he passed, recognizing the urgency in his movements. He was 7 feet tall, a monster. The wild look in his eyes that spoke of something that had been found. He flew up the steps and burst into Ella's solo without ceremony, dropping to one knee, his chest heaving. Your Majesty. Ella turned from the window where she'd been standing for hours, waiting. Tell me that you come back with news I want to hear. Her blue eyes were locked onto Kale with laser focus. Yes, my queen. Speak. Ian sends word. We found something. In the South Thornspire Mountains, between the peaks called the Widow's Fangs, there's a fortress hidden behind powerful veils. The witch Nira is trying to pierce through. Ancient magic. 7 towers of black stone, she said. The words tumbled out in a rush. Is Nira sure? She confirmed it with her sight, Your Majesty. She says it's heavily warded. Old magic, complex layering. The king is maintaining observation distance and awaits your orders. Silence fell in the solo. Seraphina rose slowly from her chair by the fire, her ancient face grave. She is there. Ella looked at her mother-in-law. How do you know? I can smell her. Ella's expression remained perfectly controlled, but her fingers tightened on the windowsill. A fortress, she said quietly, hidden in the thorn spires. Kalitsa thinks she's protected by ancient magic, does she? She turned to face them fully. I want her brought back to me, in chains. Seraphina nodded slowly. The Thorn Spires have always been a place of old power, Your Majesty. Forbidden places. This will not be something that can be easily breached. I can promise you that. If the Ancient One has a foothold in this world, it would be there. Morwynth. Ella moved to the large map spread across her desk, studying the northern territories and southern territories with calculating eyes. How far is this? 3 days' flight for a full army, Kel answered. 2 days if we push hard with a smaller strike force. What if they've already been detected? Ella was worried for Ian. He believes that they're maintaining a safe distance, Your Majesty. But Nira said the magic that the magic is watching back. Whoever cast those wards is aware of magical probing. Ella's jaw tightened. She was silent for a long moment, her mind working through scenarios, weighing risk, calculating odds. Finally, she spoke. I want to attack, but at the same time, I do not think it's wise. Send word back to my husband. He is to maintain his position behind the bridge. Continue observation, but do not, under any circumstances, attempt to breach the wards or approach closer. I want daily reports on any movement, any changes, any activity. She looked up at Kale. Tell him I'm sending reinforcements with you. Another 100 warriors to establish a perimeter. They are to set up camps in the mountains surrounding the fortress, but at a safe distance. Multiple positions. I want eyes on all approaches. Yes, Your Majesty. And tell him, Ella paused, choosing her words carefully. Tell him that we are preparing. But we move when I say move, not before. Is that clear? Crystal, Your Majesty. When he was gone, Ella turned to Seraphina and Nira, and her heart was heavy. I don't know if what I'm doing is right. I haven't been a vampire as long as all of you. You've been vampires for centuries. I haven't even been a vampire for 2 years. And a queen, no less. I don't know if I'm leading right, if I'm giving the right orders. Seraphina walked up to Ella and put her hands on both of her shoulders. You are a queen, Ella Snow. You are doing exactly what you are supposed to do. I think it is wise to hold until we know for an absolute fact. We know Kalitsa's there, but what is there with her? I am worried. I cannot help it. Stand your guard, Queen. Do not show weakness. Ella smiled slowly at her mother-in-law, and then at Kale. We use this time wisely. We gather our strength. We learn everything we can about that fortress, and we prepare for war. She could have millions behind her, and we do not know. Send more witches to help Nira. Morwenth. Morwenth, she said. Seraphina stepped closer to the desk. You believe it will come to this? Absolute war. I know it will, Ella said, her voice hard as stone. Kalitsa murdered 2 people that we know of, possibly more. She's allied herself with an ancient evil that eclipsed the Crimson Moon, itself, and her escape. I know that there is something more behind that, something that is coming. She's hiding in a fortress protected by magic that we don't understand. We need someone who does. There is someone, Seraphina said. Who? someone that might be just as strong, just as powerful as Morwen. But I don't know if we would even be able to reach her. I used to feel her, but now I don't. Not as much. Morwen has hers. We could have ours. She's stronger than Nira. Nira would be weak compared to her. Do what you can to see if she would speak with us. She's not going to surrender peacefully. I know that about Kalitz of Aeron. And whoever is protecting her, Morwen, whatever army is behind it, isn't going to hand her over easily because we ask nicely, Seraphina said. Maelor spoke from his position by the window, and his voice was thoughtful. The magic protecting that place is extensive, layered, sophisticated. Nira is showing me things. Breaking through those wards won't be simple. It's going to take time, Queen, power, and likely cost lives. Seraphina, what is this witch's name? I do not speak it yet. She straightened, her posture taking on the bearing of a commander preparing for battle. I want you to find her and bring her to me. Everything that you know about her sounds like what we need. Her methods, her magic. What more do you know of Morwen? She went dark. And when she turned, the First Queens managed to seal her. If we're facing that kind of power, I need to know what we're up against. I will try to find this woman. Thank you. Maelor, I need you to work with our other vampires. Study what you saw, map out those wards as best as you can. We need to find weak points, find patterns, find anything that might help us breach them when the time comes. Maelor nodded sharply. As you say, your queen. Ella turned back to the window, staring out at the kingdom bathed in the crimson light. Tell Ian, Kael, that my heart is with him. I want every soldier in this kingdom ready for deployment. Every weapon sharpened, every piece of armor reinforced. We drill, we train, we prepare. Bring the captain of the guards. She was quiet for a moment, then added softly, because when we move against that fortress, we're only going to get one chance, and we cannot afford to fall. Kalitza hung in darkness, her body aching, her mind drifting. The child had been quiet since their last conversation, since he'd shown her Aiden's execution, since he'd made his terrible promise of vengeance. The silence should have been a relief. Instead, it was worse, because now she knew that he was there, listening to everything that she said, every thought, watching, listening, learning, growing stronger with every drop of blood she consumed, with every day that passed, with every beat of her laboring heart. Another cramp seized her abdomen then, sharp and vicious, and she gasped, her body jerking against the chains. The child was getting bigger. Her belly was grotesquely swollen now, stretched tight over something that moved and shifted with unnatural awareness. She lifted her head weakly. How long has it been? She'd lost track completely. Hours? Days? Time meant nothing in the darkness. Only the cycle mattered. Hunger, feeding, brief satisfaction, hunger again, an endless wheel turning in the dark. Please, she whispered hoarsely in the void. Please, someone, anyone. But her voice died in the emptiness, swallowed by stone and shadow. No one was coming. Ella's forces might be searching, but they would never find this place, Calypso thought. Morwen's magic was too old, too powerful, too absolute. She was trapped, utterly and completely. I should have been quiet. I should have just did what Ella wanted. She was a vessel for something terrible now. A womb for vengeance. And when the child was fully born, when he tore his way out of her body and into the world, Morwen had said that she would discard her like trash. Calypso closed her eyes and tried to remember. Tried to remember centuries before. Her family. The bad things that she had done. Perhaps she deserved this. She tried to close her eyes and remember when she was a girl. The laughter of her mother, her father, her sisters. Why had she slept with that old man? That had been the beginning of her ruin. She lost her family's protection, lost everything, and had to crawl basically on her hands and knees to Aiden Blackstone. And here she was, hanging, suspended in space, cold, miserable. Her belly was so heavy. She tried to remember warmth, tried to remember who she'd been before ambition and dark magic had led her to this place in life. If she could only do it again, she would be different. But the memories were distant now, fading like everything else. High in the central tower of Velcrest, Morwen stood before her basin of dark water. The surface rippled and showed images from across the realm. She watched Blackstone with interest, watched Queen Ella giving orders, mobilizing her forces, preparing for war. Watched warriors flying north in formation, establishing camps in the mountains, setting up observation posts. How predictable, Morwen murmured, a smile playing at her lips. The righteous queen, preparing to rescue her people, to bring a murderer to justice, to stop me. She waved her hand and the image shifted. Now it showed Ian and his warriors circling at a safe distance from Velcrest, maintaining their watch, reporting back regularly to Ella. They think they're being cautious, she said softly. They think they're being smart. gathering information before they strike. Her smile widened. They have no idea that they're already too late. One of her serpents lay against her cheek and then hissed and struck. She turned away from the basin quickly, grabbed the serpent by the neck and pulled it off of her head, stamping it beneath her feet. She turned away from the basin and moved to the window, looking out over her hidden valley. The fortress was stirring to life in ways the watchers outside couldn't see. In the depths below, in chambers sealed for centuries, things were waking. Shadows giving form. Nightmares made flesh. Bring your soldiers, Queen Ella. We are about to have a standoff. Your vampires against my children. Ancient horrors that had slept since the first queen sealed Morwenth away. They responded to her call now, slowly at first, but with growing strength as her connection to this world solidified. Morwenth spoke to Ella in her mind. Gather your armies, Morwenth whispered. Sharpen your swords, Queen. Rally your troops. I will let you believe that you can storm these walls and claim victory. She looked down then, not through the window, but through the stone itself, her awareness extending to the chamber where Kalitza hung in chains. The child grows stronger every day, fed by desperation and blood, learning, developing, becoming everything I need him to be. She could feel him, feel his consciousness expanding. Feel his rage building like a storm about to break. Yes, Ella. Go ahead. Try to fight me. She turned it off. Her link to Ella Snow. And then she looked up toward the chamber. Soon, she murmured, her voice rising with every word. Very soon now, Lady Kalitza Veyron, the birth approaches. And when it comes, she began to walk up the stairs, summoned a new image in her mind. The one showed something moving in the darkness beyond the edges of mapped territory, shadows gathering, forms coalescing, an army being born from nightmare and forbidden magic. When my son is born, Morwenth continued, when he takes his first breath and unleashes his power upon the world, Ella Snow will realize she was never fighting Kalitza, but me. Her green eyes blazed with terrible satisfaction. Yes, Ella Snow is fighting against the end of everything she knows. Ella was standing on the balcony looking up at the crimson moon when she heard the terrible voice of the witch in her mind. The threats, the promise of war to come. She grabbed her head with both hands. Her attendants rushed to her. Are you all right, Your Majesty? Yes. Yes, I'm fine. Where is Seraphina? She left. I saw her heading off toward the east. She prayed with everything in her that Seraphina was able to find the witch that could match Morwen's power. Let's take an intermission. 10 minutes. And when we come back, we will continue the story of the Crimson Queen. I hope you're enjoying it. War is about to begin. Hello, hello. Hello. A blood war is coming. Yes, indeed. Hello, Gordon. I love that name. I've always loved the name Gordon. Shirley, thank you. You are most welcome, Melanie. I hope that you are enjoying it. Thank you, Karen. A praying vampire. Hey, Judy. Just because we're halfway through the live doesn't mean that we can't still work. Let's make sure we're sharing. If every person in this live would share, if every person in this live would repost, more and more people would get to know that there is a Twisted Tales live. So I am asking every single person. Right now there's 29 of you because a lot have went on break. But if every person would share this, even people that don't want to come into the live, that are silent night dwellers, if you will just hit repost, if you will just share it, if you will share it to your FYP, amazing things can happen. I'm going to tap the screen while the live, while we are on break. Hello, Judy. Hello, Patricia. Hello, Cracker Farms. Oh, Iron Mike. Hello. Yes, Turtle Woman. Hey, Leslie Marie. Hello, Juju. Welcome in. Hello, Ginger Moore. Thank you for sharing the live. Share, share, share. That is one thing that I see when I go in other people's lives. People are just constantly sharing, reposting, share, repost, share, repost. We want to build Twisted Tales Live, right? And make it the biggest story community on TikTok. Well, that's how it's going to get done. Thank you for sharing. Hey, Renee. Share it on your FYF. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, thank you. The second y'all started doing that, more people came back in. Hey, hope you love Little Butterfly. Thank you for the heart beam. Yes, please follow and set your notifications to all. Please, please, please. Thank you so, so much. Less than 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for the masquerade. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for the presents. Thank you. We got to put just a little bit of work in to get big results. Less than a minute. Thank you all so, so much. Every little bit helps. Hello, Skeleton Key Photography. Love your name. We're about to enter back into part 2. What are you thinking about tonight's events? Love Poe. Giving you a couple more minutes for everyone to come in. Can someone please post in the chat how to share, how to repost? I think sometimes it's just a matter of someone doesn't know how to do it. Oh, Skeleton Key, that would be great. Welcome back to the second half of The Crimson Queen. I am Bryn Morgan, a horror author. I am also a teller of scary stories, and tonight I am sharing my own work. Crimson Queen, do you like vampires? In the darkness of her prison, Kaletsa felt him stir again. The presence in her mind returning, not with rage this time, but with something colder. Something more calculating. They're coming, Mother. Kalitsa's breath caught, her head raised weakly. What? The Queen's forces. They found this place. They circle like carrion birds, watching, waiting, planning their attack. Images flooded her mind. Vampires in formation, flying patrol patterns around the mountains. Camps being established in hidden valleys. Warriors drilling with weapons. Ian giving orders, his silver eyes sharp and alert. They found me, Kalitsa whispered, and for a moment, just a moment, hope flickered in her chest. They're going to try to rescue. They're going to die. The words were absolute. Do you think that they can reach Morwen's wards, Mother? Do you think their pitiful magic can stand against power that has endured for millennia? The presence pressed closer. When they come, and they will come, they will be slaughtered. Their armies will break against these walls like waves against stone. And their queen, a pause, heavy with anticipation, Ella Snow will watch her people die. And then she will die herself by my hand for my father. No, Kalitza gasped. No, they don't know. They don't understand what you are. Exactly. The child's voice carried grim satisfaction. They believe they're going to find you. They believe they're stopping you. They have no idea what's really coming for them. Another image, as Kalitza's son spoke to her. Ella Snow standing in her solar, confident, determined, preparing for a battle she thought that she could win, having absolutely no idea that the child she believed was Lord Veyron's offspring was actually something far more terrible. Something carrying his father's death as a brand on the soul. Something that existed solely to destroy her. She killed my father. The child repeated, and his rage was a cold, controlled thing now. She took his head. She threw his body away like garbage. She thought justice had been served. The presence expanded in Kalitza's consciousness. She messed up my reading. One moment. Citrine, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. Just be still. She killed my father. The child repeated, and his rage was a cold, controlled thing now. She took his head. She threw his body away like garbage. She thought justice had been served. The presence expanded in Kalitza's consciousness. But justice is coming, Mother. Just not the kind she expects. Please, Kalitza whispered desperately, thrashing back and forth. Please don't. You don't have to do. There is no choice, Mother. Only destiny. Only vengeance. The child withdrew again, leaving Kalitza weeping in the darkness. And far above, outside the fortress, Ian and his warriors maintained their watch, completely unaware of the horror growing in the depths below. Completely unaware that the child they thought was an innocent victim was actually planning their destruction. Completely unaware that their time was running out faster than anyone realized. Three days passed. After the discovery of Velcrest, Ella stood in Blackstone's Great Hall, addressing her assembled commanders. 200 vampires filled the space. Warriors, generals, scouts, magic users, all the strength of her kingdom gathered in one place. The hall was silent as death as she spoke. We have found Kalitza Veyron, Ella said, her voice carrying in every corner of the vast space. She's hiding in a fortress in the southern Thorn Spires, protected by ancient magic, and whoever or whatever aided her escape. We think we know who that is as well. A terrible ancient witch by the name of Morwenth. There was a collective gasp across the room. She paused, letting that sink in. Kalitza Veyron murdered Lady Evangeline Whitestone. Evangeline looked to her husband. He still was sad. Drained her. Wore her corpse like a puppet at her own wedding. We know that she murdered the servant girl Sylvie, her own servant, and fled into the night. And I suspect that she's responsible for Lord Veyron's death as well. Murmurs rippled through the assembled warriors. Ella raised her hand for silence. She's also pregnant, carrying what we believe to be Lord Veyron's child, which complicates our approach. We know that she is being protected in the Thorn Spires. We do not know how many are with her. She moved to stand before the great map that had been hung on the wall, a detailed rendering of the northern and southern territories with Belcrest marked in red. This is not going to be a simple extraction. The fortress is heavily defended with magic, we know, but we don't yet fully understand. I am asking you as your queen to protect our realm. Breaking through those wards will cost lives. Some of you will not return. Fighting whatever forces wait inside will cost us. She turned to face them, and her blue eyes blazed with determination. But we simply cannot let a murderer go unpunished. Can we? No, they all said. We cannot allow ancient evil to gain a foothold in our world. Can we? No! And we cannot abandon the innocent child she carries to whatever dark fate awaits. Her voice hardened. So we prepare now. We train. We study our enemy. And when we're ready, when we have a plan that maximizes our chances of success and minimizes our losses, we strike. Be ready. It could be any moment. She looked at each face in turn. I won't lie to you. This will be dangerous. Some of you will not return. But this is what we swore to do when we took up our weapons. When you joined this army. To protect the innocent. To uphold justice. To stand against darkness, no matter the cost. Silence fell. Heavy, determined, absolute. Then Marcus, commander of Blackstone's ground forces, stepped forward. You say the word, Your Majesty, and we march. Ella's expression was carved from ice and resolve. She raised her voice so it rang through the hall. We fight for Evangeline. We fight for Sylvie. For every innocent life that's been destroyed by Kalitza Veyron. We will bring her to justice. We will end this threat, and we will show the world that Blackstone does not bow to anyone. All the voices in unison were raised. For the Queen! For Blackstone! For justice! The sound shook the rafters, and far away, in the darkness of Elcrest, Kalitza heard nothing. Knew nothing of the forces gathering. Knew nothing of the war being planned. She simply hung in her chains, suspended in darkness, counting the days until her child would be born and her purpose would be fulfilled. Until vengeance would walk the earth in flesh and blood, in the form of her and Aiden's son. Until everything would end. "5 days after Ian's forces discovered Belcrest, Kalitza felt it. A shift inside of her. Not a cramp this time. Not hunger. something else. The child had grown massive at this point. Her body was grotesquely distended, stretched so tight that the skin was translucent, showing dark shapes moving beneath. Veins stood out like black rivers across her pale flesh. She could barely breathe, could barely think. Every heartbeat sent waves of pressure through her abdomen. And then, "It's time, Mother." The child's voice filled her consciousness with such force that she cried out, her body convulsing against the chains. "No," she gasped. "No, not yet, please, not yet." "The waiting is over. I am ready, ready to be born, ready to begin." Another wave of pressure crashed through her, and this time Kalitza screamed, a sound of pure agony that echoed through the stone chamber and died in the darkness. "You should be honored," the child continued, his voice calm, despite the violence of what was happening. "You are giving birth to me, to Blackstone's future king, to vengeance, to the end of everything Ella Snow holds dear." "I don't want this," Kalitza sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "I don't want any of this. Please, please just stop." "I cannot stop. Neither can you. This was always how it would end." The contractions began in earnest then. Real labor. Her body preparing to expel the thing she'd been carrying all this time. The chains suddenly released, dropping her to the cold stone floor, where she collapsed in a heap, gasping and shaking. For the first time since she'd been suspended, she was free. But it didn't matter. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And her body was already betraying her, already doing what nature, or whatever twisted version of it Morwen had invoked, demanded. Light bloomed in the darkness, green and sickly, casting a grotesque shadow across the chamber. Morwen materialized before her, a tall, forbidding presence. Snakes coiled about her head, her serpent hair writhing, her eyes burning with anticipation. "Finally," the witch breathed. "Finally, after all this time, all this planning, all this waiting." She moved closer, circling Kalitza like a predator circling wounded prey. "The birth begins. My heir comes into the world and everything changes." Kalitza tried to crawl away, but another contraction seized her, bending her double with agony. "Please," she gasped. "Please just let me." "Let you what?" Morwen said, following her as she crawled. "Die? Peacefully? Escape? Be spared the consequences of your own ambition?" She knelt beside Kalitza then, her breath rancid, reaching out to place one cold hand on the grotesquely swollen belly. "You wanted power, little serpent? You wanted to be queen, did you? You were willing to kill, to betray, to ally with ancient darkness to get what you desired." Her smile was cold. "Well, here is your reward. You get to give birth to something magnificent, something terrible, something that will reshape this world." She leaned closer, her breath cold against Kalitza's ear. "And then you get to die, knowing what you've unleashed." Ian stood at the edge of the observation post, staring across the valley at the shimmering veil that hid Elcris from view. 10 days of watching, 10 days of waiting, 10 days of seeing nothing but that damned shimmer and feeling the weight of ancient magic pressing against his awareness like a physical thing. His warriors were getting restless. They'd established 3 camps in the mountains surrounding the hidden valley, north, east, and west, with rotating patrols maintaining constant observation. But nothing had changed. No movement from the fortress. No sign of Kalitsa. No indication that their presence had been noticed or that any response was being prepared. It was eerie. It was wrong. Nira approached from behind, her footsteps silent on the rocky ground. "Any change?" she asked quietly. Ian shook his head. "Nothing. Same as yesterday, same as the day before, same as every damn day since we arrived here. I wish something would happen." He turned to look at her and his frustration was evident. "It's like watching a tomb. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. Just silence. Are you sure that she's here?" Nira's deep green eyes were troubled. "I know it. I don't like it either, Ian. That much power, that much magic, and yet nothing. No activity, no response to our presence, but I'm telling you, she knows we're here." She moved to stand beside him, her hair blowing in the cold, icy wind, studying the veil with her enhanced sight. "They know we're here. It's like they don't care that we're here. Which is worse," Ian muttered. "Which is much worse." A runner approached from the eastern camp, a young vampire named Sira, with quick reflexes and sharper eyes. "Commander," she said, slightly out of breath. "Message from Blackstone. Queen Ella requests your daily report." Ian nodded. "Tell her no change in target status. Fortress remains sealed. No evidence of movement. No visible activity. No response to our presence. All camps maintaining position and readiness, awaiting further orders." Sira bowed and departed, launching into the air to carry the message back south. Ian returned his attention to the valley, his jaw tight with frustration. "We need to do something," he said. "We can't just sit here forever, watching and waiting while that murderer hides behind ancient magic. For all we know, she could have a legion beneath this bridge." "I know, but the Queen said to wait," Nira reminded him. "To observe and report, not to engage." "I know what she said." "But you disagree?" Ian was silent for a long moment. "I think that every day we wait is a day that Kalitsa gets close to doing something that will destroy us all. A day, whatever is protecting her gets stronger. A day our advantage slips away." He turned to face Nira Puli. "We have found her. If you know that she is here, we know where she is. We have the forces to storm that fortress. If we move now, while we still have surprises on our side." Nira's expression was troubled. "You're suggesting that we disobey the Queen's direct orders, Ian. I'm suggesting we might not have a choice. If we wait too long..." At that moment, he was interrupted by a sound that made every vampire in the camp freeze. A crack, like thunder, like stone breaking, like reality itself splitting. It came from the direction of the castle, from inside the veil. Ian and Nira exchanged looks of alarm. "What was that?" Ian asked. Nira breathed. Before she could answer, another sound reached them. Distant, muffled by distance and magic, but unmistakable. A scream. Raw. Agonized. Female. Kalitsa. It's Kalitsa, Nero whispered in horror. And then the air around the valley began to change. The bells shimmered more violently. The magic crackled and sparked like lightning trapped in glass. And something began to press outward from inside the fortress. A presence, a power, an awareness that made every vampire in the observation post take an involuntary step backward. Ian, I think Kalitsa's child is being born. Kalitsa lay on the cold stone floor, her body racked with contractions that came faster and faster, harder and harder, until she couldn't catch her breath between them. Blood pooled beneath her, too much blood, far too much, but her body couldn't stop, wouldn't stop. Morwen stood over her, watching with terrible satisfaction as the labor progressed. There, go, go. Push, the witch commanded. Bring him forth. Give him to this world. I can't, Kalitsa sobbed. I can't, it hurts, please. Push! The command was reinforced with magic, and Kalitsa's body obeyed, even as her mind screamed in protest. She pushed, and something inside her tore. She screamed, a sound of such pure agony that it seemed to shake the very foundations of the fortress. And the child responded, "Yes, mother. Yes, I come. I come." His voice in her mind was exultant, triumphant, hungry. Another push, more tearing, more blood, and then she felt him moving. Not the gentle movement she'd felt for weeks, but purposeful, violent, deliberate. He was forcing his way out, clawing, tearing, destroying her from within as he fought to be born. "No," Kalitsa whispered. "No, please stop." But there was no stopping it now. One final push. One final terrible moment of agony. And then release. The child slid from her body in a rush of blood and fluid. And Kalitsa collapsed back against the stone, gasping, shaking, barely conscious. For a moment, one blessed moment, there was silence. And then a cry. Not the weak mewling of a newborn, but a sound of pure rage, of power, of something that should not exist, taking its first breath in a world unprepared for its arrival. Morwen moved quickly, gathered the child in her arms, her expression one of absolute triumph. "Perfect," she breathed. "Oh, you are perfect." Kalitsa tried to lift her head, tried to see what she brought into the world, but her vision was swimming, darkness creeping in at the edges. She was dying. She could feel it. Her body broken beyond repair. Her purpose fulfilled, just as Morwen had promised. "Look, Kalitsa," Morwen said, and there was cruel amusement in her voice. "Look at what you've created." She held the child where Kalitsa could see him. He was beautiful, terrifyingly so. Pale skin like marble, dark hair already thick on his head, Eyes that opened immediately. Not the cloudy eyes of a newborn, but eyes that saw, that understood. Eyes that glowed faintly red in the green light. Aiden's eyes. No, Calypso whispered. No, he looks like his father. Morwen finished. Yes, every inch of him. Aiden reborn, but so much more. The child, Calypso's son, turned his head to look at her. And in that gaze, Calypso saw no love, no recognition, only cold assessment. And then he spoke to her. Thank you, Mother. His voice set in her mind one final time. You have served your purpose well. And then he looked away, dismissing her as if she ceased to matter. Because she had. Morwen left Calypso in the darkness, carried the child toward the chamber door, already speaking softly to him, already beginning whatever terrible work came next. And Calypso lay in the spreading pool of her own blood, watching them go, her vision fading to black. Her last thought before darkness claimed her was not of herself, not of her wasted ambition or her foolish choices, but of Ella. I'm sorry, she said weakly. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Please, someone warn her. Warn them all. He's coming. And then, nothing. Outside the fortress, every vampire in Ian's command felt it. The moment the child took his first breath. A wave of power rolled out from Velcrest like a shockwave, pressing against their minds, their bodies, their very souls. Warriors stumbled, scouts fell from the sky, magic users cried out in pain as the wave crashed over them, and when it passed, the veil around the valley began to change. The shimmer darkened. The protective magic that had hidden Velcrest for so long started to withdraw. Not breaking, not failing, but opening deliberately, inviting them in. Ian grabbed Nira's arm to steady her as she swayed, her glowing eyes wide with shock. What just happened? He demanded. Something very wrong. Something was just born, Nira gasped. Something with power I've never felt before. Something that just announced itself to the entire world. She turned to look at him in a fear, real, genuine fear filled her eyes. Ian, we need to get word to the Queen. Now. Right now. Because whatever was just born in there is not Lord Veyron's child. Another wave of power rolled out, stronger this time, and with it came a voice. Not spoken aloud, but pressed directly into every mind within a dozen miles. Young, male, ancient. I am born. I am here. I am coming. And with those words, the fortress began to wake. Lights appeared in the empty windows, not warm and welcoming, but cold and green and wrong. The great doors that had stood closed for so long began to open, and from the depths, from places that had been dark and silent for centuries, came movement, shadows taking form, hundreds of them. Things that had slept beginning to stir, an army preparing to march. Ian's hand went to his sword, his entire body tense with combat readiness. Fall back, he commanded, his voice ringing across the camp. Everyone fall back to the secondary positions. Send runners to Blackstone immediately. Tell the Queen. He paused, searching for the right words. Tell her. The war has begun. The message reached Blackstone Castle within hours. Ella was in her solo when the runner arrived, already preparing for bed after another long day of planning and preparation. Marcus burst through the door without ceremony, his face pale, his hand shaking slightly as he held out the sealed message. Your Majesty, urgent dispatch from Commander. The king says something's happened at the fortress. Ella took the message and broke the seal, her eyes scanning the hastily written words. With each line, her expression grew harder, colder, more resolved. When she finished, she looked up at Marcus, and her voice was trembling. I need you to find Serafina. Find out if she found the witch. I need you to summon every guard and every commander currently in the castle. The War Council. Now! Your Majesty? The fortress is opening. Ian is reporting movement inside. Something has awakened. She moved to the window, staring out at the crimson moon. We're out of time. Whatever we were preparing for, whatever we hoped to learn before we struck, none of it matters now. She turned back to Marcus, and her blue eyes blazed with determination. Mobilize the army. We take off at once, every warrior, every weapon, every resource we have. We take flight at dawn. Marcus bowed sharply and departed at a run, already shouting orders. Ella returned her attention to the moon, her jaws set, her hand steady despite the weight of what was coming. Calypso Veyron, she said softly to the night. Mina perched on her shoulder, her turquoise eyes glowing. Whatever you've done, whatever you've unleashed, her voice hardened. We're coming to end it. And far to the north, in the depths of Velcrest, in a chamber lit by sickly green light, Morwenth held the newborn child and smiled. They come, she whispered to him, touching his small chin, holding his hand. The Queen and her armies, they come to bring a woman to justice who is already dead. Oh, my dear boy, to prevent a future that is already written. The child, no longer helpless, no longer merely infant, opened his eyes fully. Red eyes that glowed with terrible intelligence. Red eyes that saw everything, understood everything, hated everything. Let them come, he said, though his mouth was too young to form words. His voice echoed in Morwenth's mind with perfect clarity. Let Ella Snow bring her armies. Let her march to my gates. He smiled, a terrible expression on such a young face. I will show her what justice is wrought. I will make her understand what she stole from me, and then I will take her head, just as she took my father's. Morwenth cradled the crying infant against her chest. his wails echoing through the stone chamber with a sound that was both heartbreakingly human and somehow wrong. Too resonant, too powerful for something so newly born. Hush now. Hush. She cooed, her voice taking on a gentleness that was obscene, coming from something so ancient and terrible. I know, little one. I know you're hungry. So very hungry. She ran one long finger down his pale cheek, tracing the perfect features, Aiden's sharp jawline already visible, even in infancy, the dark hair thick and soft, the red eyes that watched her with too much awareness and would change to silver, a true sign of a black stone. You're perfect, she whispered, the true heir of Blackstone. Not Ella. You are everything that I needed. The child's cries intensified, his tiny body arching in her arms, his mouth opening to reveal gums that would soon bear fangs. He needed to feed. Now. Yes, Morwen murmured. Yes, of course. Your first meal. How fitting. She turned slowly, carrying him across the chamber to where Kalitsa's body lay motionless in a spreading pool of blood. The young vampire's eyes were still open, staring sightlessly at the ceiling. Her skin had gone pale, even paler than it had been in life, taking on the waxy quality of true death. Still beautiful. Blood still seeped slowly from the tears in her body where the child had forced its way out. Morwen knelt beside the corpse, positioning the crying infant carefully in her arms. Look, she said softly to him. Your mother, the vessel that carried you, the womb that nurtured you. She reached out with her free hand and tilted Kalitsa's head to the side, exposing the pale column of her throat where the jugular vein lay just beneath her skin. She gave you life, Morwen continued, her voice taking on an almost motherly quality. And now, in death, she will give you strength. The child's cries had quieted slightly, his silver red eyes fixed on the exposed throat with laser focus. Some instinct, some deep primal knowledge told him what was coming, what he needed. Morwen produced a small blade from somewhere in her robes, obsidian etched with runes that glowed faintly green. First blood should always come from the mother, she whispered. It's tradition. Power passed from one generation to the next. She pressed the blade against Kalitsa's throat and sliced. Not a slash that would have been too crude, too wasteful, but a precise incision, opening the jugular vein cleanly, releasing what remained of blood that was still in Kalitsa's cooling body. Rich, dark, potent. It welled up from the wound, spilling across the pale skin in rivulets that caught the green light and seemed to glow. Morwen lowered the infant toward the wound, his tiny body trembling with desperate hunger. Drink, little one, she commanded softly. Drink and grow strong. Take from her what is yours by right. The child's mouth found the wound instinctively, and he latched on, his tiny lips sealed against his mother's throat, and he began to drink. Not the gentle nursing of a human infant, but with a ferocity that was shocking to something so small, something so newly born. He drank greedily, desperately, his small hands coming up to press against Kalitsa's cooling skin, his body going rigid with the intensity of feeding. Morwenth held him there, supporting his weight, watching with satisfaction as he consumed his mother's blood. Yes, she breathed. Yes, take it all, every drop. Let her final gift be your strength. Let her death nourish your life. The child fed for long minutes, his cries completely silenced now, replaced by soft sounds of suckling that were obscene in their innocence. Kalitsa's body grew paler still. The blood flow began to slow, to weaken. Finally, when there was nothing left to take, the infant pulled back with a small gasp, his tiny mouth stained dark with his mother's blood. He didn't cry now, didn't make a sound. He simply stared up at Morwenth with those terrible silver red eyes, his expression one of satisfaction and something deeper, awareness, understanding, power. Morwenth lifted him away from the corpse, cradling him against her chest once more. There, she cooed, wiping the blood gently from his mouth with the edge of her robe. There now. Better. The child made a soft sound, not quite a coo, not quite a purr, but something between that sent shivers down even Morwenth's ancient spine. She stood slowly, looking down at Kalitsa's strained body with cold satisfaction. Thank you, Kalitsa Veyron, she said formally, for your service, for your sacrifice, for your womb and your blood and your foolish ambition that made all this possible. She turned away from the corpse without another glance. It didn't matter anymore. She was gone. Only the child mattered now. She carried him out of the chamber through corridors that began to glow with green light as she passed, upstairs that had been dark and silent for centuries, to a room that she had prepared high in the central tower, a nursery of sorts, though calling it that seemed almost laughable, given what occupied it. A cradle carved from black stone, lined with silk the color of dried blood, windows that looked out over the hidden valley and the mountains beyond, walls covered in runes of protection and power. Morwenth laid the child carefully in the cradle, arranging the silk around his tiny body. He watched her with those silver eyes, silent now, sated and content. You need a name, she said softly, reaching down to stroke his dark hair. Something worthy of a king. Something that carries the weight of what you are, what you will become. You will grow quickly. She was silent for a long moment, considering. Then she looked at him, truly looked at him, and saw Aiden's features reflected in miniature. The sharp lines of his face, the intelligence of those eyes, the terrible beauty of him, light and darkness, hope and vengeance, life born from death. Lucian, she whispered. Your name is Lucian. How appropriate that it means light, when all you will do is bring darkness. She traced a rune in the air above it, and it glowed briefly before sinking into his flesh like a brand. Lucian Blackstone. She continued, giving him his father's family name, the name of the man Ella Snow had executed, son of Aiden, rightful heir to Blackstone, heir to vengeance, bearer of ancient power. The irony was not lost on her. Lucian, the light bringer, a name of hope and illumination given to something born from shadow and fed on death. Perfect. The child, Lucian, stared up at her, and something in his expression seemed almost like a smile. A terrible, knowing smile on an infant's face. Lucian? His voice echoed in her mind, testing the name, claiming it. I am Lucian Blackstone, son of Aiden Blackstone, and I will make you pay for taking my father's throne. Morwenth laughed, a sound of pure dark joy. Yes, she breathed. Yes, you will. But not yet, little one. Not yet. My reign is coming. She looked out the window at the crimson moon hanging in the sky. First, you must grow. Just a little. A few days. A week, perhaps. She turned back to the cradle. Vampire children grow quickly in their first days, Lucian. Especially one like you, filled with such power, such purpose. She reached down and tucked the silk more snugly around him. Rest now, future king. Feed when you hunger, and I will bring you what you need. Grow strong, and when you are ready, her smile widened. When you can stand and walk and will the power that burns inside of you, she leaned closer, her green eyes blazing. We will open the gates wider. We will unleash what sleeps in the depths below, and we will show Ella Snow what the darkness truly looks like. Lucian's red eyes glowed brighter for a moment. Mother, he said, not to Morwenth, but to the ghost of the woman who had carried him. Father. Images flashed through his infant mind. Aiden kneeling in that courtyard, Ella's blade falling, his head rolling across stone. I come for you both. I come to avenge. I come to destroy. I come to claim what is mine. And in his cradle of black stone and blood-red silk, Lucian Blackstone closed his eyes and smiled. The smile of something that looked like an angel, but burned with the fires of hell. And that is the reading of Crimson Queen. I do hope that you have enjoyed this reading. So glad. Hey, Raybab. Thank you, Melanie. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for the presents. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Hopi Love. So a new king is born, the rightful true heir of Blackstone, Lucian Blackstone. What will happen, I wonder? Thank you, Hopi Love. Thank you. So glad you liked it, Kelly. Thank you, Gordon. One day, it could happen. You are most welcome, Sandy's mama. So welcome. Wow, what a journey that we have taken with this story. Thank you, Rhonda. I'm so glad you look forward to it, Hopi Love. That is why I do it, to bring enjoyment. In the midst of a very dark and very chaotic world, to bring some light into your lives. Oh, we are almost there, aren't we? I love you, Raybab. Love you all. We bowed to you. Oh, thank you, Shirley. Thank you, thank you. So can you believe it? Is she like the first main character that I have unalived in this book? I believe so. I think, right? Yeah, Kalitza Veyron. She has, she started out at the very end of Blood in the Snow, and she has been a major part of this story. But it's not over yet. Crimson Queen is your favorite, Rhonda? You belong to me. Ha 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 ha. Thank you for the lovely hearts, Leslie Marie. How about Aiden? Aiden, yes. He was, yeah, so I have unalived quite a few of my characters. She had a very horrible death. I did cut him off. I cut him off, yeah. Right. So, you know, I wanted Kalitza's end to be brutal because she did a lot of brutal things to others. And it was so funny when I was writing, you know, the part about, you know, her being suspended. You know, I was like, how terrible would it be to go into labor and you're suspended by your wrist and your ankles 50 feet up in the air? Can you imagine what that would be like? But somehow I managed to conjure it, and it has really been a delight to write, for sure. And I am really looking forward to exploring Lucian. You know, he's a baby, but he's going to grow very, very quickly. Not yet, Raybab. Not yet. Seraphina is searching for her. Cherry Hill, yeah, it's really a tough one. I mean, it really, really is. My heart is coming out in these stories. I'm giving it everything that I've got. Everything that is in this mind, I am pouring out. And I'm already thinking about new ones. Oh, Bren. What if I did give the witch that name? There's going to have to be someone very powerful that can defeat Morwenth, because Morwenth is, you'll get it, Kelly. Thank you, Jackie. Well, I tried to, you know, take you there. I want you, when you read one of my books, I want you to be there in that moment. Whether it's a ghost chasing you around the house or being chased by a vampire, whatever it is, I want you to be there. And I think that Blackstone Realm is very prominent now in everyone's minds. So glad. I'm glad to hear that. I'll keep the live going till we hit 3K. 300K. How about that? Yeah, it's got to be one of her enemies, and I'm so glad that you enjoy it. Shirley, will there be a continuance? Y'all are not growing tired of the Crimson Queen? Awesome! Yay! Yay, 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 yay. I do believe this book is getting better, yes. Well, I'll end up with like 50 in the series. There will be a, branching off, and everything. The thing is, Crimson Queen can go in so many different directions. When I first started with Blood in the Snow, I thought that was it. And then, as it, I think when I was halfway through it and I saw the reactions that I was getting from everyone, I was like, I don't think this is over. I think this may really just be beginning. 2 years from now, book 10. All right, my lovely, lovely night dwellers. You brought the lotion and the basket? I will tell you this, I'm telling it live, but the book's going to be way more involved. I will say that. Sandy, the only audiobook that I have right now is The Haunting of Hastings House on Audible and an audio on Amazon. I love you all. Good night, Goddess Lovely. You are most welcome. You are most welcome. I will see you tomorrow night where we continue the final night of Robert the Doll. Everyone have a beautiful, splendid night, and I will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. on PFL. Good night. Good night, Gordon. Good night. Good night, everybody. Love you all. It is cold here. It definitely is. Yes, it is. I will see you all tomorrow night. 99 over there in White Channel.